Just out of curiosity, you mentioned the gerrymandering thing. I'm new to the area. I've been
Oh.
here 4 days.
Oh, really? Where'd you come from?
Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania 16, Lois Hurricanes, Joe Pitts. Well, trust me, you and I have been talking a lot in the future.
Okay, good.
I have a lot of campaign experience.
Good.
But I don't know what the process is in Illinois for redoing the districts after the census. Is that a lawmaker-driven thing, or is that a commission?
Lawmaker. And there's been a movement for the last several months at least. Well, there's been movements for years, but there have been a couple of movements in the last several months that gathered steam, and then everything puttered out. There was something called the Fair Map Amendment that is not going to come to pass. They needed 300,000 signatures, and they didn't get half that. The Democrats in Springfield pushed through something that leaves lawmakers in control, and so basically, you know, they decide, they pick their voters rather than the voters picking them, and it's on paper supposed to be a better thing with the Democrats, but practically speaking, you'll see much of the same. So. And I don't know if you've looked at our maps, but they're obnoxious. You look at Illinois 17, that's a joke. That was to keep me from having to cater, or to keep Tim Johnson not to.
Well, it reminds me of Pennsylvania too, from Bob Brady, so yeah.
It doesn't have to be that way. Iowa has rectangles and squares, and you know, that's, I don't know.
I've actually seen maps around the country where literally houses, literally right through the middle of a house goes the line. And literally, you know, one is a gerrymandered red and one is gerrymandered blue. It's insane.
I like Livingston County here. It's the northwest part of our congressional district. There's 22 counties in the district, by the way. Livingston County, I have 99.8% of it. There's a small farm in one corner that they put into Illinois 11 because Jerry Weller, who had the seat for 15 years or so, his mom has a farm up there.
Yeah.
And so,
I mean, I've seen districts where literally, like I know Pennsylvania 16, where I came from, is all of Lancaster County, half of Chester County, and 2 voting precincts in the middle of Reading City.
how can we not be cynical?
And it's 10 miles from the county line, so there's literally like a patch of land about this wide that nobody lives on, that goes from Lancaster County line to the center of Reading for the 2 voting precincts in Reading City.
You like the Iowa map, and that was done during the early 90s, and the man behind that was arrested and imprisoned for drug distribution from his office in the Capitol, and for contempt of court, because he wouldn't tell them who he was selling to. And that would have been in probably 93 or 94.
But he got that nice map through.
And yeah, it's amazingly good work for the state, but yeah, he was arrested for drug distribution, and I lived in the vicinity at the time and was dating someone whose mother worked in the governor's office.
Let me ask you something. Where was he, separate and apart from his legal difficulties, what was his background partisanship-wise?
Democrat, and I believe he was a physician too.
Really?
Oh. I'd have to go back and dig. It's been you know, it's 20 years old, 20-year-old story, but yeah.
He left them with a good map, and they all like it. They, you know, when I talk to people from Iowa, they appreciate what they have, even if there are seats filled by the opposition. They appreciate the fairness.
Well, a PVI of +1 or +2 in either direction is reasonable. 48, 32 is ridiculous.
So the whole idea of redistricting with this census is already out the window.
It sounds like it to me. Anybody else?
Yeah.
We have such
it's good
I mean,
December 1.
we'll lose a seat, and so there will be different boundaries, but the overall concept of incumbents protecting themselves. What I don't get, I don't know, Deb, if you have any insight or anybody, why, and again, I guess it's just that old boy network, why do they protect each other incumbency-wise? Or is that just a gentleman's agreement through the decades?
I would go back to Animal Farm because all animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. That's yours.
Yeah.
It's the psychology of it.
It is, and you can see it from local precincts, the way they're drawn here. The precinct that I'm in has five different, they have to have 5 different ballots on hand because we're part of 5 different districts in one precinct. And it's done through the cities, it's done through the county, the county board is, you know, there are several basically Republican districts, and there are several Democratic districts, and there are a couple of districts where they fight, but mostly the map wins, and it's drawn that way.
It's very feudal. Like fiefdoms in France 700 years ago.
Exactly.
And the senators are even worse. They're impossible to dislodge.
And we're going to.
Not quite.
No, but we're going to.
You think so?
I guess I'm just confused why we make it so hard.
True.
Because they can. Because we stopped watching them.
So hard to become a politician?
Well, just listening to, you know, in terms of like, you know, just the makeup of the map, you know, the county maps and everything. I mean, that just sounds like it's just, it's
Well,
harder
there's a
than it needs
science
to
to it.
be.
I mean, there's a hard number for how many people can be in a congressional district, and so that's why they do with this. They do redistricting after the census. Is there's supposed to be, I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but it's like 255,600 something. I mean, it's a really strange number, and so they draw it based on these population numbers from the census. But what happens is, you know, there are some states where they do it by bipartisan commission, where it's not lawmakers. They take people like you and me and they throw them on a commission. And they get people from the political science world, they get Joe Schmoes, and I find those states do tend to have less gerrymandering in their districting. But it's a numbers game for them. And one of the people I worked with closely on some of the campaigns in Pennsylvania that I worked on is a redistricting buff, I guess you would say. It's kind of a hobby of his to study that and predict and that kind of thing. And it really boils down to it's a protectionism thing, and it's partly the old boy network, and it's partly just that whole I have the power to do this, and so I'm going to do it the way I want to do it. And I mean, I don't know, you know, Dave just said that you guys are going to lose a district. We're going to lose a district here. I'm not used to being here. Sorry, we're going to lose a district here in Illinois, but I know, you know, in Pennsylvania, the word is that there's going to definitely be a district lost. There's no doubt about it. Jack Murtha passed away in January. That district's going away. There's no doubt Pennsylvania 12 is going to be gone. But the problem is that there's 4 districts around it, and no matter which way you redivide that district, you're going to end up with 4 gerrymandered districts instead of just the one which was gerrymandered for Jack Murtha.
Wow.
But this is why we get so cynical, right?
Yeah.
And not want to get involved, because it's like fundamentally, like that's the problem there. It starts right there.
Yeah, but on the other hand, the whole reason, you know, if you look at gerrymandering, it's something that started at the beginning of the Republic.
Yeah.
So it's not
That's a long
something.
idea.
It's not something that's new. It's something
Right, yeah,
that
yeah.
has always been with us.
I
It's
find
the
it
common
interesting
cold.
what,
It's the common cold of American democracy. It's not fatal. It's been around forever. It annoys the
Yeah,
hell out
yeah.
of us when we have to deal with it.
but it can't, well, I mean, it can't,
So
pushed
we
to
should-
a point, it can be fatal, I believe. It's interesting what you just said, that it makes us so cynical and not want to get involved. For me personally, it makes me want to get involved. You
That's
know,
what you're running.
you know, it's you know, must fix this.
Yeah.
And especially, I talk a lot about, you know, I talk more about a theme, corporatism,